As we continue our celebration of the birth of Jesus among us, today's focus is obviously on the family, the Holy Family. But the family of Jesus and Joseph and Mary are presented to us as an ideal family. Let's fast forward about 18 years. Jesus is teaching a group of his disciples, quite a crowd. And somebody calls from the back of the crowd, "Your mother is here and wants to see you." And what does Jesus say? "Who are my mother and my brothers? Anybody who believes in me is my mother and brother and sister." In other words, my family. I don't know how Mary felt about that. It's not recorded. Because Jesus came among us to reveal to us the reality that we belong to a family of which his Father is our Father, the family of God. And it doesn't matter who we're talking about when we say we belong to the family of God the Father. Our natural families, we can accept that on most days. The national family that we belong to, the ethnic families that we all come from and are surrounded by, all races, all genders, all peoples, even ISIS belong to the family of God. And Jesus came to remind us of that and to exemplify that in his own life. When I look at the family of God, I'm sure you do also, look at it with some frustration on many days. If you're reading the daily paper or watching the evening news, you can actually become angry with the family of God that you belong to. Quite dysfunctional, I would say. Quite a dysfunctional family. And what do you do about it? School where we learn to love. And the only solution to the dysfunction of the family of God is learning, and perhaps learning again, how to love. And let's not forget that love isn't some kind of a sentimental good feeling about another person. It's something very practical. And the basic activity of love is forgiveness. We all grew up in less than perfect families, and we coexisted and survived because we learned how to forgive each other. We didn't call it love, we just called it forgiveness or forgetting. Some people need a surrogate family in order to experience that kind of love and therefore be able to give that kind of love, that forgiving love. Each one of us has to seek out that kind of a relationship. As we get older, the natural family, for most of us, moves out of town. And we're alone or perhaps widowed. We all need a family, a community in order to love. You can't love in a vacuum any more than you can breathe in a vacuum. So we have to seek out the family in which we exercise the forgiveness, which is the work of love. This is what Jesus is all about. This is what Christmas is about. This is what the Holy Family is about. This is what the crucifixion is about. It's about learning to be the family of God despite our dysfunctions. In a moment, we will gather at the family table, those of us who recognize the presence of God in our midst Eucharistically, the presence of Jesus in our midst Eucharistically. And from this family table, only those who are excluded, who wish to be excluded, or who live a life of exclusion where they don't or refuse to love. The only reason that Jesus came among us was to lift us up from our failures and sins and restore us to that union with the Father, Abba, the Father Abba, and teach us how to live together as his family. So as we nourish ourselves this morning, not only on his word, but also on the Eucharistic meal, Let us be confident that the strength that we receive today and each day will be sufficient, not just for our little circle of family, but for the whole world, provided we disseminate the wisdom and the strength and the love which we experience at this table.